What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video tonight, it's August 21st. We're going to be doing a 12-team mock draft here on Sleeper. I'm going to hop into a screen share and show you guys what we're looking at here, but I'm drafting from the fourth spot. This is a half PPR league, and I'm just going to show you guys the request that came through to set this up. And shout out to Carrie G.3314. They were watching the Sleeper 16 Superflex mock draft, and they asked for a 12-team half PPR sleeper draft, fourth pick, standard format, but with 2 flex spots, no kicker. So I'm going to be doing this format here for Carrie, and let's take a look here. I just want to make sure all my settings are dialed in. Half PPR is checked, 12 teams is checked. Give myself about 2 minutes to make those moves, and then 2 receivers, 2 flex, 1 defense, no kickers. All right, let's get into it. Let's have some fun. Yeah, I got the fourth spot. Let's just go ahead and hit claim here. The fourth spot in a half PPR, it's pretty consistent for any format. You're looking at 4 main guys. Here it gives me 2 of my favorite players in the top 4. So it spits out Justin Jefferson, Christian McCaffrey, and Cooper Kupp. I really like Jamar Chase. I really like Austin Eckler. I think, depends on what you like to do. Half PPR, I tend to lean running back here. In a decision between Jamar Chase and Austin Eckler, I think they're both amazing picks. In terms of projected points here, they do have Jamar Chase outscoring Austin Eckler just a little bit. Let me take a look at my projections here for half PPR. It looks like I got a ton of running backs that are up higher here. So yeah, in a half PPR setting, I do have CMC, Eckler, and Jamar Chase as my top 3-4 picks. And guys, they're all separated by just a few picks. So this is telling me to take a running back here. If you're sitting here at pick 4, Carrie, and you have CMC or Austin Eckler on board, you should take these guys. It's very clear that these are going to be the best picks in a half PPR league. You want to start with a running back. I do think we're going to like the wide receivers when it comes back. It's kind of telling us Garrett Wilson, Tony Pollard, Jalen Waddle. We're gonna like some of the players when it comes back to us. So let's try and see what a 4th overall Austin Eckler team looks like, and we'll see what it spits back. But after Eckler, it gives me Kelsey, Tyreek, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor. Oh man, Stephon Diggs and AJ Brown. End of round 1. Beginning of round 2 is CD, Nick Chubb, Pat Mahomes, Devontae, Derrick Henry, Garrett Wilson, Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs. And I do not understand why Sleeper has Tony Pollard falling so far, man. He's one of the best picks. And to get him at 2.9, I want to run this pick in because it just doesn't make sense. Amon-Ra St. Brown's like my other favorite player to draft, and he's more of a full PPR guy for me. But I got Tony Pollard as my 6th highest projected half PPR player. We grabbed Austin Eckler here as my 3rd highest player. Amon-Ra is my 16th, so he probably would have been our pick if he's there. So if you don't want to take a running back here, I'm all in on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Waddle is close. He's right there at 17. So if you want to go with a running back start, I do think there's receivers that are going to be here for you, whether it's St. Brown, Waddle. You can maybe do Olave. Where's Olave rank here? Olave I have at 21, which is where we're picking. So if you want to, grab one of those receivers, I think it totally makes sense. But let's see if one comes back to us. I'm going to take Tony Pollard here. Let's lock in 2 of my top 6 running backs in a half PPR format. St. Brown, Waddle, Jalen Hurts, end of round 2. Mark Andrews, Chris Olave, and Najee Harris go at 3.3. So I'm back up to pick. We don't need Ramondre Stevenson. You do have 4 flexes, though, or 2 flexes, so we could start 4 running backs, which would be pretty crazy. I do think in a half PPR, Ramondre loses value. He's more of a full PPR guy for me. My top available players are probably DK Metcalf here at the wide receiver spot. I am a little bit lower on Devonta in half PPR just because he's going to catch a lot of passes, loses some steam in half PPR, and it looks like T. Higgins is a little bit lower for me too. So if I'm being honest here, DK Metcalf is the receiver that I'm looking for. If you want T. Higgins, Devonta Smith, go for it. I'm totally cool with both these guys. But for me, half PPR, DK Metcalf's probably going to have more touchdowns than Higgins or Devonta Smith this year. I think he's upwards of 8, 9, 10 touchdowns as a floor. And I know he's going to lead the team in targets and receptions and probably yards. So I'm all in on DK Metcalf. He'll be our wide receiver 1 here. But again, if you want to take Higgins, you want to take Devonta Smith, go for it. If you wanted to double or triple down on the running back position, I don't hate it either. But to me, I think receiver is the value here. We'll see what comes back on the turn for us. We'll lock in DK Metcalf here. And after I take Metcalf, you see Higgins, Brees, Devonta Smith. There's two quarterbacks, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, Ramondre, Travis Etienne, and Kenneth Walker, end of round 3. Beginning of round 4 is Debo, Jameer Gibbs, Keenan Allen, TJ Hawk, Mixon, Ridley, Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, and we are on the clock. Now, Amari Cooper does stick out as one of the top receivers available. Jerry Judy's down here, too. And actually, in terms of projections, I got Chris Godwin up way higher than all these guys and Mike Evans. So that is interesting to note. We're not grabbing a tight end here. I do want Darren Waller or Dallas Goedert. We can maybe consider them in the 5th round. But to be honest, guys, Dameon Pierce is growing on me. He's one of my favorite picks right now. And in a half PPR league, that's where he really starts to shine. He's the top rated running back available right now. And actually, he's just as much points projected as Chris Godwin. So in theory, if you don't want a quarterback here, and to be honest, I don't love pulling a quarterback here in the 4th round. I think you want to continue, especially with 2 flexes, man, you want to continue to take stabs at those running backs and receivers. Personally, I am all in on Dameon Pierce. I think he's been locked down in the preseason. I have him up here as my 26th best player in half PPR setting. So to me, this is a smash value. I'm going Dameon Pierce here. That's going to give us 3 really good running backs. So we got insurance at that position. Obviously, we need some wide receivers yet, but I'm gonna take Dameon Pierce, and then we can kind of cool it on running back. We can only grab him when we need to, kind of thing. We do miss on Herbert, Hopkins, Cooper go, McLaurin goes, Kittle goes, Miles Sanders goes. So some good players to go here, but I'm not in love necessarily with any of these running backs on the board. Madison, Akers, Connor, Kamara, Rashad White. Like, sure, if these guys come back to us in the next turn, I'm open to it, but I don't know if I necessarily need these guys in this format. The tight ends, again, they're not like 136, 135, 130. There's a lot of guys all projected in the same realm of numbers here. And to be honest, like my tight ends, I got Anders at 49. I'm seeing value with Goddard, Waller, and Hawkinson, but I have them ranked in the 70s. So I have them, basically, end of the 6th round is kind of where I have these guys being taken. So I don't love the picks of the tight ends here. We'll wait and see if someone can fall to us. But yeah, I have them basically end of the 6th round value. So quarterback, Justin Fields. If you want to pull Justin Fields, I'm cool with it. I do kind of think I have some ideas, and I'm a guy that likes to pull two quarterbacks and try and play the matchups. But for me, I think we're going to go wide receiver here. This is a total preference call. I generally like to go for the guy with the most projected yards. Mike Evans is here projecting a ton of yards. I don't trust Tampa Bay's offense all that much. I also don't trust the Broncos offense to throw the ball all that well either. So let's see who my top projected wide receiver is in a half PPR setting that's available still. It looks like it's Christian Watson. Watson I have here up at 36, so I have him going just over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. I also have Mike Williams up there too. We already have Austin Eckler. I don't know if you want to double dip in the Chargers offense, but otherwise it's Jerry Jeudy for me. So I'm going to lay it out this way. Mike Williams, one of my favorite picks here. I do like Christian Watson a lot. I know he's a little bit boom bust, but hey, I think he's going to get a ton of yards, and that's what you're looking for here. So I'm going to go Christian Watson, wide receiver 2. We just need talent at the wide receiver position. And hopefully I can build a deep enough wide receiver room where if Watson scares you, you have enough, insurance behind him. So we'll see what we can grab here. I think I want to continue taking wide receivers, and a lot of them fell to us. Look at that. The top players on the board here are all wide receivers. Evans, Ayuk, Christian Kirk, Marquise Brown, Pittman, George Pickens, Jahan Dotson. Personally, I'm not in love with Mike Evans, but there might be value here. I think he's going to get a ton of yards. So we could plug him in here. Let's look at the running backs real quick. McKinnon, Gibson, James Cook. Half PPR guys, I'm not super in love with those guys. I'm kind of happy that we're done with those positions. I'm going to grab Brandon Ayuk. I know he's a really good player. He's young. He's got some upside. Brock Purdy looked good in the preseason the other night. I kind of want a piece of that 49ers offense. So we got DK, Christian Watson, Brandon Ayuk, 3 receivers, 3 running backs, Eckler, Pollard, and Dameon Pierce. I believe the tight ends are all – Darren Waller is still kicking it here. If this happens in real life, guys, I'm snagging Darren Waller here, and vice versa. If this was Dallas Goedert that fell to 7.4, I think you have to do it. I really like the receivers available here, but I think we're going to like them when it comes back to us. So to me, I mean, I really enjoy being one of the last teams to take QB. It looks like one, two, three teams don't have QB, including us. So in a 12-team league, I'm totally fine with being one of the last teams to take a QB. I'll take two of them, two high upside guys, and we'll roll with it. But for this is what it's going to do. Like I have to take Darren Waller here. This is a great value. And if this was Dallas Goddard here instead of Darren Waller, I'm taking if I can get Goddard or Darren Waller here in the 7th round. Please do so. You're locking in a pretty good starter at the position. And again, I mentioned I have this group of tight ends. I have them all ranked as end of 6th round value. So we got him in the early 7th. That feels like a win. Let's see if we can cash in on any more guys falling in ADP. We missed out on a lot of the wide receivers I like. We can still get a decent QB of Dak, Tua, Richardson, Cousins, Geno, Daniel Jones. Like there's so many quarterbacks available in a 12-team league. I think it's pretty stupid that we can still get these guys. And I like a lot of the wide receivers yet, honestly. Running back, we could make a pull or two here. I'm really into Jalen Warren. He's one of my favorite guys to draft. I think you need to draft. Basically, I like going zero, not necessarily zero running back. I like grabbing, one of the top 6 guys. And then I like coming back and I like hitting McKinnon, Gibson, Pirine, Warren, Charbonnet, Robinson, Herbert, Kenneth. Like these guys are ranked way too low. My goodness. Yeah, let's take a look here and see what the ADP is telling us to do. It's saying to take Jordan Addison here. I'm fine with Jordan Addison. I might prefer Zay Flowers if I want to take a rookie wide receiver here. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Zay Flowers here and put him on the bench. He's just another tool in our shed here that could be of big use to us. I am waiting for Sky Moore here, who I think is going to be a good player, but we got to grab Brian Robinson. He's going to get fed a ton of touches in that Washington offense. He's more of a half PPR format guy anyways, because Gibson's the pass catcher, but I do think Brian Robinson has a sneaky upside of 1,000 yards and maybe 6, 7, 8 touchdowns. So that feels really, really good to me. I waited on QB, and you see a lot of teams grab QB here. So who's left at QB, you ask? Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Jared Goff. I'm cool with all these guys here. We can actually stack Daniel Jones with our tight end, Darren Waller. Sure, sign me up. And then flipping coins here, Geno Smith or Jared Goff. I mean, I really don't care which one. We do have DK Metcalf. Personally, I really like what Geno Smith did last year. He's projected the most points here at QB. Actually, Russell Wilson is. But getting Geno Smith stacked with DK Metcalf, we can play him anytime that there's a good game, especially if they play Arizona or maybe the Rams. And Daniel Jones, we know we're going to play them in some good matchups in the NFC East, as well as any other easy matchups. So we got Geno Smith and Daniel Jones, man. We'll play the matchups. I feel good about that duo. We got 4 running backs. We got 4 wide receivers. We got a tight end. This feels pretty good, man. Again, like look where Jared Goff go. Like nobody wants these guys, but both these guys were top 10 QBs last year. I'm locking in about 18 points per game at that position. We just got to make the right starts. I'm going to take Jalen Warren here all day to be my RB5. We do need some wide receivers left here. I'm not sure why these guys are falling, but Romeo Doubs, we already have Christian Watson, but I like Romeo Doubs. Nico Collins is technically the number 1 wide receiver for the Houston Texans, so that one makes a lot of sense. We'll grab him. And I think we've built ourselves a pretty decent group here. Our running backs are Eckler, Pollard, Dameon Pierce, Brian Robinson, and Jalen Warren. That's 5 really good players there. Our receivers are DK, Watson, Brandon Ayuk, Zay Flowers, and Nico Collins. That's probably our weakest position. But again, I feel relatively okay with what we have done here. I have 2 more picks left to make. 1 bench, 1 defense. If I wanted a backup tight end, or if I wanted to go 0 tight end, the guys, tell you what, the sleeper tight ends you need this year, Jawan Johnson, Luke Musgrave, Jake Ferguson. If you want to just take 2 of those guys at the end of your draft, be my guest. I think they're all really good high upside plays this year. But I do want to tack on 1 more wide receiver. Let me look around here. I like taking the rookies, Marvin Mims, Jaden Reed. Those guys are some high upside players. MBS is going to be on the field a lot. Paris Campbell's going to be on the field a lot. I like some of these players here. Same with Darius Slayton. He's going to be on the field a lot for our quarterback. But what sticks out here to me might be Tank Dell. Yeah, I don't love the wide receivers here, so I'm looking at probably Marvin Mims. That's going to be my rookie. I mean, I already got Zay Jones, but I'm going to take a stab here at the rookie receiver for the Broncos. He should be on the field a decent amount. And then our defense here, I've been preaching it. If you can't get the Saints defense, pick a defense for week one. The Commanders play the Arizona Cardinals week one. The Baltimore Ravens are already picked up here. Yeah, Baltimore went early. They get the Texans week one. So if you're stuck looking for a defense for the first week here, just grab the Commanders and enjoy that big game against the Arizona Cardinals. But there's our team. Again, I missed a lot of guys that I liked. I wanted to hit this QB window because I really want Anthony Richardson. If you are interested in waiting for QB like I do, um, I mean, you could legit wait until almost everyone's got a QB. You can grab Anthony Richardson as your two, and you can still get Daniel Jones or Tua or Dak or Cousins or Geno. One of those guys paired with Anthony Richardson, I think, is the recipe for success. But you can tell what I did here. I went for a really well-balanced approach. Eckler, Pollard at the top of our draft, followed by Metcalf and Dameon Pierce. Christian Watson, I know, is boom bust, but I feel like we insulated him high enough here with some good receivers behind him. Brandon Ayuk, Darren Waller locked into our tight end one. Zay Flowers is an exciting guy coming off the bench who just scored a touchdown in the preseason game. Brian Robinson off the bench. He's going to be getting the ball a ton. We're going to play the matchups with Daniel Jones and Geno Smith. We got Jalen Warren, who's an injury away from being a bell cow back, but I think Jalen Warren might be like a Tony Pollard-esque player this year, where he just is super good, high volume, not a lot of volume, but he's highly efficient on his volume. And then Nico Collins, Marvin Mims, just some guys on the bench here for wide receiver depth, and the Commanders on defense. So there you go. That's our half PPR team. I feel pretty good about it. I think if I could change one thing, maybe I really wanted Anthony Richardson here, so maybe that was my issue. I grabbed Brian Robinson, who I like a lot, but we could have plugged in Mostert or someone else. We already were pretty good at running back here, so I maybe should have taken Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. I like that duo quite a bit. But there you go, man. Thanks for hanging out with me. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Let me know if you guys have any questions or if you guys want to see any other mocks. I really like doing the sleeper mocks because I can bang them out in like in 12, 15 minutes. So if you guys want to see any other mocks, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you Wednesday night on the live stream, ESPN Live Mock 12 team. Come hang out. We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys there. Peace.